Okay, hi. I have returned with another video. Side note, I do apologize if there is something wrong or weird about the audio at any point in this because I did buy this mic for £10. Yes, I did, unfortunately, and it isn't the best. It isn't very good. Anyway. This is like my new setup. I guess just for this video, and maybe another one. I think I'm going to film a little thing that I wrote ages ago, but I'm going to film like a little reading of it directly after this. But I'm going to change. No, you're not. You're not going to change. You're not. You haven't. So that it doesn't look like I'm a loser with no life who just sits at home filming YouTube videos. Which I mean, that is what is happening, and that is the truth, unfortunately. But I do want to keep up an image. I do want to keep up an image of being normal. This video is just going to be like a little recap because I haven't done like a video diaries thing in so long, and this is just going to be like a recap of some of the things that I've been picking up on recently, and like thoughts that I've had. So the first note to self, I've written a comprehensive list of things to bring up and talk about. This is actually really comfortable, actually. And then I've got Gwen here. Gwen the frog. So, topic number one to talk about and to discuss is, it's not even a topic, it's an exclamatory sentence. No, an instructional sentence. It says, stop trying to explain yourself, / be comfortable with only you knowing yourself. Stop trying to explain yourself, be comfortable with only you knowing yourself. Yeah, like, I used to spend so much time, and I still do, I still accidentally find myself doing this sometimes. I find myself putting in so much energy and so much effort and so much consideration into how other people might perceive my options and my choices and the things that I decide to do, and I don't know, just the choices I make and the way that I live my life. I try so hard to make people understand, not only understand, but also accept the choices that I make, which, like, that's like a complete other layer onto it, really, because yes, it is very, very, very draining to try so hard to make people understand and explain yourself constantly and try and get people to understand the way that your brain works and the way that you decide to do the things you do. And I mean, that goes for like a very wide range of situations and choices. Pretty much every choice that you make that might include other people or might not, and people are just observing it and forming an opinion, and you try and sway them to make them understand. But it's another thing, a worse, more detrimental thing to your well-being, I believe, when you then try and also make people accept every choice that you make and every decision you make. Like, I mean, we say it for celebrities all the time, you can't please everyone. So why? I feel like as well, phrases like that. Sorry, a bit of a side note. I feel like phrases like can't please everyone and gotta love yourself. I'll get to that one later. But I feel like phrases like that are so, like, they're so like over saturated with people's individual meanings that it just becomes no meaning at all. Like, I read "you can't please everyone" and I literally don't understand what that means. I think just because everyone says it for every situation, and it's just lost its meaning. It just doesn't say anything to me anymore. Same with, like, I don't know, love is love or something. Which love is love, but just the phrase itself, I just can't get my head around. But that's with every phrase. I sound homophobic right now. I promise I'm not. I promise. Um, yeah. Anyway, I went way off topic talking about how I just don't like phrases. Um, what was I talking about? I actually can't remember what I was talking about. You can't please everyone. You can't please everyone. Yeah. Okay. Maybe I do understand the phrases. Um, yeah. Uh, you really can't make everyone around you happy. And if people talk about that in the context of like celebrities, they can't. Like, if you're a celebrity, there are going to be people that are going to hate you, and you're going to have like haters or whatever. And your fans aren't always going to love what you do, and there will always be someone who disagrees with you and the choices that you make, or the career choices that you make, or the political choices that you make, if any. But anything like that, there is always going to be someone who disagrees or someone who doesn't accept the the choices that you make, even if they do understand, which they also don't. So why does that? Like, why do I not? Why have I up until recently not sort of taken that in and been like, oh, like if a celebrity can't do it, then why do I think that I can? Even though maybe I'm around less people, but the people that I am around are just as uh, varied as the fans of celebrities, if that makes sense. In that, like, there's still gonna be people in my circles that don't agree or don't understand or don't accept the choices that I make in the same way that a celebrity has fans who won't. It's a microcosm, all right. Uh, so I'm already so sick of holding this mic. I can't even lie. I'm sorry, Gwyneth. You're gonna have to sit down. So yeah, stop trying to explain yourself. Stop trying to explain yourself. No one's ever going to understand. No one's going to like. No one's ever going to fully understand everything that goes in your brain. No one's going to ever fully understand the way that it works and the reasons behind the decisions you make. All you can do is make the decisions and make it worth it. You can justify your decisions by your life afterwards, by the success of them. And that's what you should be more focused on rather than explaining the reasons why. Like, if you want to, I don't know, I'm just using like a random example. Like, if you want to drop out of uni, because that was, yeah, if you want to drop out of uni, because that was something that I was considering. And I decided not to, but I do still think that it would have been an okay choice for me to make. I don't think it was the best choice. I think staying in uni, as I have done, is the best choice. And even if it wasn't, I'm going to make it the best choice. But I think if I did leave uni when I wanted to, when I could have, then it wouldn't have been the worst thing in the world. So yeah, if you want to drop out of uni for any reason, or defer, or make a decision about that thing, make the decision based on your own inner workings, and obviously take into account what other people say and other people's advice. But don't do it for other people. Do it for you. Again, you can take other people into account, and you can take into account, could this help someone? Could this be beneficial to my family as a whole? Could this be beneficial to my friend group as a whole, to me and my boyfriend, or me and my girlfriend, or whatever? But you should be doing it with your best interests to an extent, as long as it's not the detriment of other people, in an unbalanced, unjustifiable way. If you can justify it to yourself with a decent moral judgment assessment, then you should be able to make those choices, make that decision. You don't have to explain yourself. If you have objective moral backing to it, you can, if you want. If you feel like people deserve an explanation, it sounds now like like stop talking to all your friends and you don't have to explain yourself. No, I don't mean about that. I mean a decision to put your hand up in class, and I don't know, tell a joke to people, or ask someone to hang out, or just anything small like that. You don't have to explain that. Like, you don't have to explain yourself for living. Like, I'm in a house share at the moment. I thought I would always like be constantly having to explain like why I live the way that I live, and why I function the way I function, and why I leave this here and why I leave this. Everyone is capable of compromise. I've learned that being in this house, in a good way. I really like my housemates. Everyone is capable of compromise to an extent, and if the people around you aren't capable of a compromise based on a small decision that you make, I don't know. It's a hard one. I actually don't know where I'm going with this. I'm just talking and talking and talking. I'm yapadoodledooing. What was I saying? Compromise. Yeah. Yeah, like, I don't need to explain, like, why I take a shower in the morning, why I want to shower in midday if I need to. Like, a few years ago, I would have been worried that, like, that was what I would have to do all the time if I lived with strangers who didn't understand the way I lived. People are fine not knowing. People are fine not knowing. Oh my god, that's another point. People are fine not knowing. You don't need to explain yourself, because a lot of the time people don't really care. Like, people don't need to hear it. If you tell a joke and then you feel like you need to explain why you told the joke, that's a bad example, but if you did, people don't care. People don't care. They will accept the joke, or any kind of offer in a conversation. Do you want to hang out? Do you want to do this? Do you want to do that? 99% of the time, depending on how you say it or whatever, or the circumstances, as long as you sort of, again, moral assessment, or, you know, social assessment of yourself, trust yourself and your own judgment. If you think that it's the right decision to make this offer, or ask this person to hang out, or to go home early, or only invite this person because you only want to be with this person, and it's fine, and it's not excluding a large majority, even though some people might be upset because they wanted it to be a group thing, whatever. I'm just picking really random examples. Nearly just turned this off. I hope it doesn't turn off. What was I saying? Yeah, if you make those decisions, usually they probably don't care. Like, or they don't care enough to be needing an explanation from you. And it just takes up way more energy than it needs to explain yourself and make it sound okay and be agreeable and be accepted, than it is to make the decision, work to make it the right decision, and I guess that's proof in itself. Work to make it the right decision. Like, that's so much more simpler, and so much more, you get closer to achieving your goals faster. I mean, the goal is to make the decision and make the right decision. So then, to make the decision, then explain yourself, make the decision, accept it, then act on the decision, or then make it the right decision, or judge whether or not it was the right decision based on other people's reception to it. Again, this is in specific examples. Obviously, I don't mean something like murdering someone or something. That it feels like a detour to try and explain yourself, than just making the decision and then working to make that the right decision. I don't think right and wrong with some things exists until you work to make it, until the result happens. Like, my decision to leave a party early, there is no right and wrong there, and no one really cares that much either way. So if I was to go out and be determined to have a good time and have a good time and put myself out there, then that would be the right decision. If I was to go out and if I was to tell myself, right, I'm making the decision to go out and then feeling guilty about the decision the whole time, or feeling like, oh, I should be back home, or whatever, I've made it the wrong decision. If I decided to go home and the whole time I was like, oh, I wish I was out, and like, I feel so bad for my friends because I left them out and now I need to explain myself to them and tell them why I decided to. You've made it the wrong decision. Whereas if you go home, you make yourself a brew, you go on Roblox or, read a book or message your friends. And if you feel like you owe them an explanation or a little, sorry, just wasn't feeling it, that's fine. That's like healthy, I think. But you don't need to go on a massive, like, you don't owe anyone your presence. You don't owe anyone your presence. You don't need to explain yourself with that. And yeah, what was I saying with that? I keep going on these tangents and then forgetting what I was saying. Oh yeah, you've made it the right decision by going home and having a good time when you're home. The right and wrong comes after the decision based on your actions and how you carry it out. It isn't the decision itself, the choice itself. It is the actions succeeding the choice, the actions that are acted upon the choice. If that makes sense. So stop explaining yourself. Stop trying to be. Stop trying to make every decision you make be accepted and agreed upon with everyone around you. Because how are you going to know what decisions actually are yours if you're constantly asking other people their opinions, or trying to reason with other people, and trying to get other people to be like, yes, that is good. How do you know that you actually believe in what decision you're making then? Because you keep relying on other people. Like, if I'm someone who explains myself too much and tries to get everyone to agree with the decisions that I make too much, and I make on two separate occasions, I make two separate decisions. I make the decision to leave from a party, go home from a party one night, and in my subconscious, I am fully 100%, yes, I want to go home. I really want to go home. Really don't want to be here. I'm going to have fun at home. And then on the other occasion, the decision is, I am not going to buy this dress because it looks bad on me, or I'm not going to buy this, I'm not going to buy this top because it looks bad on me, or it's ugly, and I don't look great in it, or it's not my colour or something. And I don't really believe that, but because I've been negotiating with my friends and the people around me, saying, how does this, I feel like this would be a good outfit, and they would be like, no, that's not your color or anything, even if it was like a good intent or whatever. If I wasn't 100%, no, I'm going to switch this around so that the message doesn't get convoluted, even though it probably already is, because I fucking can't get my words out right. I'm still on the first bloody point. I'm 20 minutes through, bloody hell. Okay, so the first occasion, I go home and I 100% want to go home from the party. I don't want to be at the party. Second occasion, I don't want to buy this coat because I think it looks ugly on me, but I tried explaining myself to my friends on both occasions. Both occasions, one occasion my friends managed to convince me to get the coat, one of the occasions my friends didn't convince me to stay at home or whatever, but I felt really guilty about it, whatever. And I was explaining myself on both of the occasions, and different results came out of my same attempts at explaining myself. How do I know where I am coming from? Because I'm still, like, I have two different results. I don't understand. How do I know? I don't know how to word this. How do I know that the decisions that I made in both occasions are mine if they literally aren't? And that happened by explaining myself and trying to be agreeable, because that completely depends on the group of people that you're around. And trying to be agreeable and trying to explain yourself and reason with other people about the choices that you make and the decisions that you make about your own life, if they're so dependent on the people around you, and the people around you aren't a constant in your life because no one is, you literally lose identity. So make your decisions on your own and don't explain yourself unless you feel like that is a decision in itself to explain yourself. But don't make it part of every decision process. Every choice you make shouldn't include explaining yourself. It should be a separate decision that you make if you feel like that's the right call to make. Okay, I think I'm finished with that bullet point. The next point. Oh wait, no. I'm only halfway through the point. Be comfortable with being wrong. Be comfortable with being wrong. Oh yeah, comfortable being mistaken, but also comfortable being seen and corrected. Oh yeah, so yes, while you should, of course, be comfortable with being mistaken and people not understanding you and not agreeing with you and stuff, you also have to be comfortable with being wrong and being seen and understood and still disagreed with. And being wrong, actually being wrong. Like the disagreements aren't always completely relevant, because sometimes I was saying before about the moral judgment assessment, whatever. We are humans, we make mistakes. Sometimes we make bad decisions. Sometimes we lack a little bit of morality. If I do say so myself, I think we do. I think we sometimes do, unfortunately. And it is okay for then us to be told that we are wrong and that people disagree with us, and then to make another separate assessment of the situation after the fact and taking into account other people's input, whether that be you are wrong, you are right, you did something bad here, you hurt this person or something. Why do I sound like I'm going to cry? I'm not. You hurt this person. Then you should be comfortable and learn to be okay with then accepting that you were wrong. Like, yes, you don't have to explain yourself. Yes, you don't have to reason. Yes, you don't have to be agreed with. But there are circumstances where that fails, and nothing's ever black and white. I don't know. I feel like I set my previous point up to be so strong and so like, well, I don't know if it was strong, but like so like, this is the way to live. This is the way to be. But also, nothing is black and white. There is no set way to be, and every situation is so different, and every choice that you make will be so different that not all of them will be the best, and not all of them will be good, and a lot of them will be mistakes, and a lot of that will be how we learn from things and stuff. So if people do pull you up and tell you that you're wrong, and you then are able to look at the situation and be like, oh yeah, I am wrong, that is a sign of maturity, I think. And it is something that everyone should strive for, because the world is so full of people who can't admit their wrongdoings. I'm thinking mainly like politics, but also just general life, just everything. The world is so full of people who have a lot of pride in the decisions that they make, which is why the people who do explain themselves and do lack the pride and confidence in the decisions they make, that is often why they do get taken advantage of, or they do feel so bad all the time. So, yes, if you are able to sometimes, while yes, strive to not have to explain yourself and strive to have the confidence and the pride to an extent in the decisions that you make, still also leave a little bit of space in your heart, in your soul, in your being, in whatever. Leave a gap that is wiggle room for mistakes, an allowance for being wrong, and learning from that. There shouldn't be such a stigma around being wrong. Like, mistakes are literally the way that we learn. We have been in school for however many years that we have each been in school for, and that is like the main thing that they teach us, is that to learn you have to get things incorrect and then be corrected. So don't only be comfortable being wrong, don't be comfortable in sitting in wrongness, don't be comfortable in sitting in the wrong decisions that you make. Be comfortable to accept the wrong decision and then to act on it as soon as you can, and to rectify the mistakes that you make. Yeah. Accept that you will make wrong things, wrong decisions and wrong choices, but don't accept the wrong choices and decisions as things that can sit in you. Work to dispel them by learning, by taking on other people and listening. Okay. Bloody hell. That's 31 minutes. Bloody hell, I'm going to be talking for bloody ages. People taking advantage of others, taking advantage of people pleasers. Yeah, I feel like I spoke about that already. For people in uni, early 20s, do they also feel the humongous shift between 20 and 21? Or like, I don't know, I just feel so different now than I did a year ago. Like so much mature, much more mature. Pretty much what it says on the tin. I feel way more mature than I did when I was 20. I'm 21 now, and I feel, well, I don't know about mature, but I feel different, and I feel like I've grown from then. And it's weird. It kind of happened quite quickly. So far, all of my birthdays, like especially my 18th, which in Britain is like the US's equivalent of the 21st. Like, you can drink, you can smoke, whatever, when you turn 18. So like that was like the big one for UK. And when I turned 18, and everyone would be like, do you feel different? I was like, no. And then every year since, I was sort of asked that question, even 17 and 16 as well, actually. I was asked that question, and the answer has always been no, I don't feel any different. But then 21 happened, and it happened away from home. It happened in uni, just like last year, but something else, it just felt different this year. And I do feel different. I do, like, for the first time in yonks, I actually feel like I have aged numerically. Like, I feel like my age aligns with the changes I have undergone and the things that I've learned, which is weird. I don't know. What age was it for you that like sort of clicked? If it has yet, if not, hang in there. Um, anyway, I only have two more bullet points left. Oh yeah, one is a quote that I wrote in class a few weeks ago, and I showed to my friend, and she was like, "Put that in your notes now, and like remember it because it kind of ain't. I can't lie. It's I used to deny control over my emotions as a way of avoiding the responsibility for them. So I used to like pretend. It wasn't pretending. I used to convince myself that I couldn't control my emotions and my thoughts, and the way that I process things, um, and the way that my brain functioned. I would deny the fact that I could control that. I would say, oh, like my emotions are just everywhere. I can't control them. I can't place them. I can't find them. I can't do anything. And I would say that subconsciously, I believe, as a way of pushing away any responsibility for them. I think in retrospect, I do think I understood what I was feeling. I do think I understood what was going on in my mind, and I do think I could have controlled and I don't want to sabotage my past self and betray my past self and be like, yeah, you could have been better, you could have done this better, because I do believe that at the time I was doing as best as I could. But now I do believe that I do believe that I understand now that I have the control and that I had the control. I just don't think I understood that I had the control, and I would deny that control as a way to deny responsibility, even though I didn't understand that that's what I was doing. But now I do have control, and I do have the understanding of the control, and therefore I do understand the responsibility I have over my emotions and my thought systems, if that makes sense. um, There's a lot of yapping. I have one bullet point left. Um, yeah, this is kind of linked in with the last 2 points about how I feel different now. I know myself not like someone that I love, but like a mechanic knows a car. So, do you remember before when I was like, oh yeah, the phrase "love yourself," and I was like, just wait. Well, this is the point that I was going to make with that. With the phrase "love yourself," all my life I've like been trying to figure out like what does that actually mean? Like, how do I actually love myself? Like, what does loving yourself actually look like? Um, because most people, when you ask them, they can't define love. Like, most people can't actually define love. In fact, anyone that I've ever met has not been able to, with full confidence, define what love is. So why are you using it as an instruction if you don't want it? If you don't know what it is, love yourself. You don't know what it is. Um. So, like, it never really clicked with me, the idea of loving myself. The idea of like that is the way that I can become happy is by loving myself. How does that? What does that look like? How do I do that? And I think the way that I now view that self love, which is what a lot of people call it when they look after themselves and they treat themselves well and they respect themselves and the decisions they make, maybe, and they are good to themselves and they are good with themselves. I don't think that's love. I think that is, at least for me, when I'm looking after myself and when I'm having a good relationship with myself, that is the mechanic looking after the car. And I don't mean this in the mind looking after the body. I mean this as the conscience looking after the functions. The conscious mind, or the spirit, or the essence, looking after the functions, and that is the functions of the mind, of emotion regulation, or belief systems and thought formations or whatever, and also body functions, and getting a shower, tidying my room, cooking well, eating well, doing chores and whatever. I think that all ties into the functions, and the mechanic, and that is all the car, the functions, and the mechanic is again kind of undefinable, but it is the conscience, it is the self that is unaffected by the functions, by the thought beliefs unaffected by the belief systems and the formation of thoughts and the emotion and the bodily function and the health and the sleep and the hunger. The part of you that is at your deepest core, that is so unaffected by anything else inside of you, the one constant, which I believe is like the essence of you, or the spirit. I think it's on a kind of spiritual level that is, again, so separate from anything, can never be touched, can never be changed. That is the mechanic, and everything else is the functions and the cogs and the work and the car. It's the car. And I think loving yourself is just looking after yourself the way that a mechanic would look after a car, or the way that a homeowner would look after a home. I don't think a mechanic loves a car. I don't think a homeowner loves a home in the way that they would love someone, in the way that love yourself implies that they would, that one would. I think they like the house. I think they know that they exist in it. I think that they like the car. I think that he knows the mechanic can't be a mechanic without the car. The homeowner can't be a homeowner without the home. The spirit can't be a person without the body and the mind and the self. The spirit can't be a person without the person. The spirit can't be a person without the self. I don't know the exact wording of it, but I don't think love yourself means look yourself in the mirror and tell yourself you love you. Or I don't think it even always means learn to like yourself. I think it means look after yourself on a physical, functional, productive level, mental as well, but that kind of falls into the physical, I believe, on a functional, productive level. How I love my family members and my friends and, loved ones, if I, significant others, how I might love a significant other. That is so unapplicable to how I might be able to love myself. I can take myself out on a date, but it's not a date. It's taking yourself out and having a good time. It's not romance. It's not this. It's separate. I'm not saying it's less than or more than or anything. It's just completely separate, not comparable. When you take yourself out on a date, you're taking yourself out on enrichment time. You're sprucing up the house. You're driving the car down a nice country road that gets the gears going or whatever. I don't know what's good for a car. You're not kissing yourself. Well, I mean, you might, but I don't know. You're not. Again, I can't really put a definition to love in the romantic, platonic, familial sense, but it isn't the same as how loving yourself should manifest. And I think it's time that people look at that and accept that and change the lingo accordingly. Anyway, I think that's everything. I think that's all some of the thoughts that I have been having recently. Um, Video diary done. I haven't really spoken about my personal life. I've just been speaking about random things. But I think they're all kind of valid points. I don't know. Weigh in the comments if you must. If you absolutely must. I mean, come on. But yeah, thank you for watching.